Matrix A is of order 2 by 3, and the matrix B is of order 3 by 1. Write down the order of the resultant matrix AB. So our goal here is to write down the order of the resultant matrix AB. Now, what is A? A is of order 2 by 3. What is B? B is of order 3 by 1. And so what we notice here is that these two numbers here are the same. And so that means that we can multiply the matrices A and B because these two are the same, right? That means that multiplication is defined in this particular order, A times B. Now, what we have to do is we have to figure out the order of the resultant matrix. And so we already know that these two matrices, we can multiply them and get an answer. And so what we're gonna do is we have these two numbers at the end, and they're gonna tell us the order of the resultant matrix. So the order of the resultant matrix is going to be 2 by 1, all right? 2 by 1. So the order of the resultant matrix AB is 2 by 1. Okay, next we have to calculate the values for X and Y. So we have this matrix equation, and our goal is to figure out, okay, what is X, what is Y? You have to calculate those values. Now notice that we have two matrices, all right? And that we have to multiply. And let's determine the order of these matrices. So we have that the first matrix is of order 2 by 2, right? That's the matrix of order 2 by 2. And we know that because it has two rows. This is one row, this is another row, and I have two columns. This is one column, and this is another column. So it has two rows and two columns. So it's a 2 by 2 matrix. And the next one is also and the next matrix that we have also has two rows. This is one row, this is another row. So it has two rows. Okay, so two rows. And it has one column. So it's going to be one column here, right? So 2 by 1. And so the first matrix is a 2 by 2 matrix. The second matrix is a 2 by 1 matrix. Now, if you notice carefully that these two numbers right here are the same, so that means that we can multiply these two matrices, and the resultant matrix is going to be a 2 by 1 matrix, right? So the matrix that we get when we multiply these two matrices is going to be a 2 by 1 matrix. And a 2 by 1 matrix, oh, I should put 2 by 1. My apologies, it's going to be a 2 by 1 matrix. 2 by 1. So we're going to get a 2 by 1 matrix. A 2 by 1 matrix. Now, what do we know about a 2 by 1 matrix? Well, a 2 by 1 matrix, right? It has two rows. So this is one row here. This is the next row here. It has two rows, and it has one column. So this is a column here, and this is a column, right? So it has, I'm sorry, this is C1 and C1, but only has one column, okay? So two rows, this is one row, this is the next row, and one column, so one column, all right? So this entry right here would be in row 1, column 1, and this entry right here would be in row 2, column 2. So it only has two entries. The first entry is in row 1, column 1, because this is one row, this is one column. And the second entry would be in row 2, column 1. So it's a second row, but the same column, okay? Now this is going to serve as our formula to help us to multiply these two matrices. And so let's use this formula to help us to multiply these two matrices. So again, row 1, column 1. Again, row 1, column 1. So let's multiply it. So row 1 multiplied by column 1. So that's 3 times x, which we have here, 3 times x. And we have 0 times y. Right here is 0 times y. Then we have row 2, column 1, based on our formula. Row 2, column 1. So we have -1 multiplied by x, which we have here, -1 multiplied by x. And we have 1 multiplied by y. And so this is 1 multiplied by y. Now let's simplify this matrix. So we have here is 3 times x, and 3 times x is right here. Then we have 0 times y. 0 times y is simply 0. Then we have -1 times x, and -1 times x is simply -x. And 1 times y is simply y. We could simplify this further. 3x plus 0 is simply 3x. And the bottom will remain the same, negative x plus y. And this is negative x plus y. So we have this matrix is equal to this matrix. Now, if two matrices are equal, right, that means that corresponding entries must be equal. And so what does that mean? That means that 3x must be equal to 6, all right? And that also means that negative x plus y must be equal to 5. So let's use our understanding that 3x is equal to 6 to solve for x. And so here we divide both sides of this equation by 3. This 3 cancels with that 3, so we get that x is equal to 6 divided by 3. And what is 6 divided by 3? Well, 6 divided by 3 is definitely 2, so x is equal to 2. But what is y, right? So we have a negative x plus y is equal to 5. We know that x is equal to 2, so we're going to replace x. We're going to replace 2 with x, and I'm sorry, we're going to, wherever we see x, we're going to put 2 because x is equal to 2. So here we see x, so we're gonna replace this x with 2. And so what we have here is negative 2 plus y is equal to 5. And so this is negative 2 plus y is equal to 5. We take the negative 2 and we send it over the equal sign. And so what do we have? This was a negative 2. It becomes a positive 2. And so we have y is equal to 5 plus 2. And what is 5 plus 2? 5 plus 2 is 7. So we have that x is equal to 2 and y is equal to 7. And those are the values of x and y. And that's the answer to this question.